What's up, nerds? It's Pat from the Nerds You're Looking For podcast. Today, I want to talk about whether or not I think that you should give Onimusha Warlords another shot. And I know that I probably didn't pronounce that right. I feel like every video of these I do, I pronounce something wrong, and I pronounce it wrong like 3 different times. But before we get started, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. That way you get notification anytime we go live or post any of these videos. That really helps us out a lot. Also, smash that like button. That helps us out as well. We really appreciate all of those things. All right, so Onimusha Warlords. It was originally released for the PlayStation 2, I think in 01. I actually, total transparency, never played the original. I talked about this before, especially on the podcast. I had a PlayStation 1 for a long time, but then when the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox came out, I chose Xbox. Don't remember why, but I did, and I kind of skipped a lot of great games because of that choice. I mean, I got to play a lot of great games like the first Halo and so on and so forth, but I missed out on some great games because of that as well. So the first thing that jumped out to me with this game is it doesn't feel like a true remaster. And I say that because we're kind of used to these like HD collection games like Metal Gear Solid a few years back and so on and so forth. We're about to get Resident Evil 2 remake. Like those feel like true remasters. This one just kind of felt like they made it widescreen, put a little polish on it, but a lot of the stuff still feels really dated. And that was really the first thing that jumped out at me with this game, playing it for the first time. I'm sure it looked good for its time, and you kind of grade on a curve with these types of games, these old remastered games that come out for the Xbox store and all that good stuff. You kind of grade on a curve because you know this game came out in 01, so it's 18 years old at this point. So you know it's not going to look amazing, but for me, this game felt especially bad. Like it looked especially bad from my eyes. The cutscenes are really silly. Actually, when I first started playing this game, I didn't really know anything about it going into it. That's generally like how I like to play games, is not really know anything about it, don't have too much expectations. I talk about that a lot on the podcast with TV shows and movies. Like I feel like we're in a generation, like we know too much about everything that we're gonna consume. Sometimes it's nice to go into something fresh. And that's definitely what I try to do with this particular game. So I didn't really know anything about it, and some of these cutscenes are really silly. But apparently, after I started playing it a little bit, I did a little research, and apparently that's part of the game. Like that's something that people really like. And honestly, they're silly, and I'm going to get to the story in a little bit, how I felt about the story, but the cutscenes itself, especially like the facial animation, was really bad, but it was kind of charming in a way because I used to watch a lot of old kung fu movies that were dubbed, and that's kind of what I felt when I was playing this game. Like it reminded me of playing one of those old kung fu movies, and I thought it was a blast, honestly. I'm sure a lot of it had to do with the fact that it was in 01 and Capcom just didn't have the technical ability to, whether it was the system or whatever, they just didn't have the technical ability to make this game, like when the people are talking, it just looked really stupid. I don't know if they were trying to go with the like the English dubbing from the old kung fu movies, if that was something that they did on purpose, or if it, again, it was just something they just couldn't accomplish with the system and with the technology they had. Either way, I actually found it really charming and really fun. Unfortunately, a lot of this game felt outdated. And the first thing that I want to talk about as far as that's concerned is the thing that really bugged me the entire time I played this game. And that is the fact that the camera is at a fixed angle all the time. So essentially, when you're going down a hallway, it's at like the front facing camera. And then when you pass where the camera would actually be in a movie, or like if you're actually shooting this as a movie, your character moves past the camera and then it switches. You cannot control the camera, and it's super annoying because I'm so used to modern video games where, like in God of War or Red Dead Redemption 2, like you control the camera as you control the character as well. And those are the types of games that I'm used to. And because this game is older, that's kind of the style that a lot of these games were doing back in the day. So it's very frustrating because I'll be going down a hallway and there'll be an enemy at the end of the hallway. I have no idea, unless I can hear the enemy, I have no idea that the enemy's there, and it's super frustrating. And it led to me getting hurt or dying in a certain spot. The save system is also very stupid. Again, outdated. You have to find these mirrors. So it's not like an autosave or anything like that. You literally have to find save spots within the game. It's also where you enhance your weapons and stuff like that. That didn't necessarily bother me. But the fact that you had to find these mirrors to save felt really, really outdated. It was super just annoying because what would happen is you would save it, play for 20 minutes, get to a boss battle or a cutscene, and then might die shortly after that. And then you would have to do all of that 30 minutes or however long it took you to get to that point over again. And it was super annoying. To make matters worse, the cutscene, if you saw a cutscene before you got to save, you had to watch that cutscene again because it wouldn't let you skip it. It's so annoying. I can't tell you how many fucking times I had to see that stupid Mothman telling me about the Dark Realm. I mean, because I had to play the Dark Realm so many fucking times. And so I had to have that guy tell me about the Dark Realm like a million times before I beat it. And it was super, super annoying. Let me skip the cutscenes. Not only is it annoying for somebody like me that never played this game, but I can only imagine how annoying it is for somebody that's revisiting this game after playing it. Because I'm assuming it's a fairly short game. So I'm assuming if you liked this game when it first came out, you probably were like me and played it a couple of times. So you've probably played this game a few times already. You're thinking about revisiting it, and you have to watch all these cutscenes over and over again. So it would be super annoying to somebody like that. That being said, the gameplay and the story were actually probably the funnest I had during this game. So it's not super complicated gameplay. It's really essentially just, when you break it down to its bare bones, it's just a hack and slash with samurais, which, again, love old kung fu movies, love old samurai movies. So I had a blast with that. And there's a little bit of a twist where it's not just a samurai hack and slash, but you're fighting like demons and monsters, and it gets really trippy and weird as far as the story's concerned later in the game. It kind of feels like a fever dream, and I mean that in the best way possible, because I think sometimes games play it safe. I mean, you get that with any medium, but especially with video games, I feel like sometimes they play it safe. And it's kind of fun to play a game like this that obviously didn't play it safe at all. It's ridiculous. It's a samurai fighting demons, and there is this huge like bug monster towards the end of the game that's really just fucking far out and weird, but I mean that in the best way possible. It took a genre that usually feels pretty tired to me, the hack and slash genre. It can be fun at times, but for the most part, it can be pretty tiring and tedious at times, but it put a fun twist on it with it being so trippy, like the story just being super weird. Played through this game, still not quite sure exactly what it's about, because I was just like, what is happening right now throughout most of the game. So I might actually have to revisit it later on. I think I'm kind of done with it for right now, but it's definitely something that I kind of want to replay it just to kind of get my my bearings for the story, because it was so trippy. I kind of felt confused at times, but in the best way possible, because it's so weird. And like I said, it's kind of like a fever dream. All right, so anytime we review anything on the podcast, whether it's a movie, TV show, video games, which we review every once in a while on the podcast, we always give them a star rating out of 5 stars. So I thought a lot about this, especially considering that it's a remaster. So I'm kind of grading on a curve a little bit. I was really kind of racking my brain whether or not to give this a 3-star or a 3.5. Because despite some of the problems that I had with this game, it feeling outdated, I still really enjoyed the story and some of the gameplay. And again, I am a fan of like old kung fu movies and old samurai movies. So I definitely had a lot of fun with this game. But ultimately, I think I'm going to give it 3 stars, which is kind of the threshold that we establish on the podcast, that's our lowest grade for whatever we're reviewing, and still think that like we're recommending it. You should still play this game, watch this movie, watch this TV show. So I think all in all, I will give it 3 stars. It does feel a little outdated, but if you don't go into it thinking that it's going to be this super serious game, and you just kind of go into it and just want to have some fun, knock it out in the afternoon because it's a fairly short game, I think that you'll have a blast. It doesn't take itself too seriously, so you shouldn't take it too seriously either. All right, so there's my review of, I'm going to say it wrong again, Onimusha Warlords. No way, that was probably the worst one I've had this entire video. I've actually been trying to not say it, to be honest with you, because I pronounce it differently and wrong every single damn time. But anyways, I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, do all of the things that I said earlier in the video. Hit that subscribe button, ding that bell so you get notifications anytime we post any type of content. Hit that like button as well. And of course, for you podcast fans, I'm going to put all of our content, links to our content in the video description below, including a link to our podcast, The Nerd You're Looking For. As always, my name is Patrick Kuhn, and I am the nerd you're looking for. Take it easy, nerds.